All right, we're rolling. So yeah, put away your hamburger and shit.
So right now,
I just
Joey,
need to put away my fries.
Right now, Joey is.
So while Joey puts away his hamburger, we'll talk about the California
drought.
drought.
He's contributing to the California drought right now.
God bless Joey Hornbuckle. He could have ordered a hamburger, but he ordered chicken. Chicken is much healthier for the environment.
Right. I got a chicken sandwich today.
Either way, he's contributing to the California drought like the rest of us by buying all their food and produce. But all the same, we're going to talk about the California
I'm also
drought.
contributing to the California economy.
A scientist...
the drought or economy, whichever one you want to call it. So this is what I'm saying. I want to ask Joey,
a scientist from California recently said that California ran out of water within 2 years.
I thought it was 1 year.
Well, it depends on what model you use.
All right,
yeah,
so 1 to 2 years. Yeah. Depends on how
Looks
much
like
they
the scientists don't know what they're talking about. Is it 1 year or is it 2?
Sounds like a great situation either way.
Gravity's just a theory, dude. Who knows? So I'm just Joey. What's going on in the free market front? How's the free market going to deal with this drought?
Well, right now the free market doesn't actually deal with water. Water is overwhelmingly something that the free market forces aren't allowed to.
Oh, you say that, but that's some bullshit. I mean, why is...
No, I mean, that's actually true.
Let's talk about who uses, half of California's water and who's being forced to shower less and who's not being forced to cut back on their water.
Based on what I've seen, the farmers. No, I'm kidding.
Private industry controls the consumption of water by and large in California. And it's,
on top of that, you got fracking, you got Nestle taking water on top of agriculture.
And that's the thing, too.
Nestle is a Swiss company, by the way.
Headquartered
in Vevey on Lake Geneva.
But do you want to know how
bottled water is bottled in California.
I just want to know, you said the free market's got... No, see, we've had these long conversations about the free market having the solutions to scarcity, all these resource problems.
All right, so let's look at
ecology and economics, whichever one you want to call it. So I'm wondering... this is kind of an immediate thing. Mustine said 1 to 2 years we can be out of water. I'm wondering what are they going to do? They got a lot of people, man. How are they going to make this happen?
Here is how a market works. You've got supply and demand, and they create a
price. But we were talking about how the world works. If you want to talk about everything,
we're not talking about supply and demand.
That's not the only thing I was going to say.
All right.
So knowing this,
just mark that off as irrelevant.
the way that we're going to fix our water shortage is that we're going to have to use more of the technologies that already exist, including the ones that
you're not going to be able to have water in a year.
Excuse me. Including the ones that they're already using in California. They're going to use more of those technologies. We need more reservoirs, and all of this is going to cost more money, which means that the price of water is going to go up to a certain extent in California. If people are willing to deal with that in California, then they will stay. If that contributes to too much of an increase in cost of living, then people will go and they will move to other states. But this is how the market will deal with a shortage of water, and that is better than any other way of dealing with a scarce resource.
Better than having some foresight.
And it's very simple. There should have been conservation that took place in the first place, and there needs to be both price control on the price of water.
And let's be honest, climate change is a huge factor in this drought. I mean, NASA said it. NASA said, in the next 100 years, there's going to be an epic drought in the Southwest.
There needs to be hard controls on how much water and what type of water agriculture uses.
Why not just have agriculture?
Relocate to Georgia.
Why not just have farmers pay for the water?
Because
if the water becomes more expensive, they shouldn't get subsidies. Why don't they just pay the higher price for the water or move to another state?
This doesn't need to be approached as an economic issue. It needs to be.
It should. It's about time we start approaching it as an economic issue.
But the problem is, you're going to end up hurting the poor. There, you're going to hurt the working class that can't afford water, and that's not fair.
Economics is a cheap cover for morality, dude. I mean, it
has to be approached as a community and a social justice issue. Whether it be for wildlife, for poor people, for businesses, for whatever it may be. Nobody wants to run out of water. Let's just start with that baseline. Nobody in California wants to run out of water. So then they need to figure out how they're going to get that. The scientists, I'm not one of them, but there's plenty of them that are over there. They got plenty of smart people at UC Berkeley and all the other schools they got there at the University of Southern California.
Liberal bastions.
Yeah. And the rest of it, they got smart people that have studied this issue for years. They know what needs to be done, which is not raising the price of water, by the way. I can tell you that much.
No, just let the price of water be what the
and
actual price of water should be.
Yeah.
However much it actually costs in order to make
But
water,
that's
just
going to
allow that to be the free floating
increase
price.
people's
To
cost of
make
living.
water.
The cost of living in California is already really
Well, I
high
know,
because
it
so many
doesn't need
people
to
are
get
living on such
worse.
few land. But
That's
you're
always-
either going to have to
that's
deal with
always
a
been-
slightly higher price for water, or you're going to have a shortage for water,
That's always
or you're
been-
going to have more of this other convoluted stuff.
That's always been the debate between the working class movement and the environmentalists. But there's plenty of environmentalists that do have your believe like you do that gas prices and water prices and food prices and that should be higher to get people to consume less. But I don't think you can punish people that aren't legitimately responsible.
I mean, in a way they do,
When-
but yeah, I mean,
when our
47%
culture-
goes just to animal agriculture. Like,
Our-
this shit's
our
not sustainable
culture-
with our
our
population. There's shit
culture-
that your economic paradigm does not take into account. And I'm asking you, take into account. Show me where it takes it into account. I mean,
our culture
things
is
like
built for
population. We've had this
consumption.
conversation, Joey, and I still don't feel like I've had even an adequate response or understanding of, how you deal with this problem.
When you
I've-
have a
I've given
culture
you
of
very clear
consumption,
answers.
You have
My
to-
answers are not about punishment. It's not about how are we
But
punishing
that's
people.
what you're
or-
saying. You're saying
We're
that
treating
you're
this as a
you're saying
social
that you're
justice
gonna
issue.
take let's say a single parent with 2 kids that's already can barely pay their rent in Fresno, California, or San Francisco, wherever it may be, and you're telling me you're going to raise their water bill, let's say 15%.
I mean, that's happening already, so it's
you're
not
going to
hypothetical.
do that, but then you're not going
there's
to
people who
address
can't
the
afford water. There's people who don't have
overconsumption
water in
by
their home.
industry.
No,
You're not
they-
going to address the egregious practices even by people in the suburbs and the fact that people.
I think that what's an
wealthy
egregious
people-
practice right now
people-
is that farmers are not paying for the full price of water, which
That-
is a
that's-
big
and
part of
that's
why
true,
the
but
shortage
this
is
is-
becoming
this
a
is the
reality.
They're
This
not
is the
paying the full
problem.
price of anything.
So what's
because
happening
people
right
want
now?
food.
What's happening right now is already an injustice because indeed those families are paying a higher price for water, or they will have a shortage of water because of the fact that farmers aren't paying the actual price. So when I say that it's about time that the market starts functioning, I'm actually looking at this from the point of view that would solve exactly what you're asking about.
The poor always pay first with climate change, whether it be in the Maldives or in the United States.
I'm talking about the
Poor
water
pay
shortage
first.
in particular, which a lot of the
And
water
I'm telling you,
shortage,
the people
there
in
is a
California,
drought,
the
but the other
poor
thing
pay
is that the
first.
state of California is very densely populated.
That's right. But again, they've totally mismanaged their water, and now they're going to have to deal with it. But you have to fix the consumption
And it's a
side.
global thing. It's not just
It's
California.
because
I
the
mean,
whole West, Arizona,
we pollute
New
our
Mexico,
waters in our own
Georgia,
cities, whether it's chemical
in
spills or
Georgia. Let's bring it back to local issue. In Georgia, about probably 7 or 8 years ago, the reservoir of Lake Lanier, which is there in Gwinnett and Hall County, that provides about 70% of the Metro Atlanta area's water source, was down to like 6 months left of supply. They were already telling people were literally at the grocery store buying jugs of desalinated water because they thought they were going to run out.
I just want to point out that affected the rich people with their boats on
Yes,
Lake Lanier.
so we're trying to point out this is
Yeah, but again, Atlanta is a major international city. People talk about it. People recognize Atlanta. There's millions of people here.
Didn't
But we
AJC
literally-
just did a story about
Yeah.
a bunch of chicken shit going into Lake Lanier
literally,
too?
literally ran.
Oh,
Literally almost ran out
from the
of
farms
water.
or the
And-
factories in
and here's
Gainesville.
the best part.
Something
So-
I didn't get to read this
since
story,
then,
but I heard
the,
about it somewhere.
the
That's disgusting.
legislature and private
Yeah,
governments
well,
have
That
done
is so gross.
That's the price of your sandwich, Joey.
have done
But
little.
that has nothing to do with the market. That's
They
just
have done
disgusting.
little-
Bullshit.
Little
Okay,
to
that's got
nothing.
nothing to do with economics.
They have done
Bullshit, dude. Bullshit. That's what I'm saying. You try to draw these arbitrary lines. That's got nothing to do. Economics can't solve that. That's not like an economics problem. No, it is an economic problem. I
There's
mean,
nothing about a competitive marketplace with supply and demand determining prices
But
that
supply and
contributes
demand doesn't
to
equal morality.
chicken
there's
crapping
not.
in water.
Supply and demand means that I can stab you in the back to get the last piece of chicken. Is that what you? That's the type of society you're saying.
not if you have a rule of law. I mean, come on.
That's the point.
Hold on.
If you just
Having
go off of supply and
understand,
demand,
having a market
survival of the
doesn't.
fittest.
Having a market means that you have rules. There should
But
be
you have
rules
rules on
such as you don't
financial.
put chicken crap
So
in
Joey,
a
what's
lake.
the problem? So are you ready for a bunch of climate refugees to be moving here from California when they run out of water?
I think that's already happening. I mean, not just
Yeah,
for water,
but I
but
mean-
for the high cost of living. There's already a lot of people
And
moving
but that's the
out of
problem.
California
they
into
have
Georgia.
ruined, for example, San Francisco used to be one of the most wonderful towns in America. It was in many ways
I
what
feel like
America
it still
could have
is.
been.
I feel like
No,
San Francisco is pretty
They
wonderful.
literally have pushed everybody that lived there out of town, whether they be immigrant or white or whatever it may be. They have pushed them out and
So that
replaced
is a
them
city you
with
would
tech
love now.
barons.
So I think
They
It's a
tore
great
down,
city. They got rid of all their poor people.
They tore,
I think
they
San
tore
Francisco is
down-
the self-declared most fabulous city in America.
They tore down Haight-Ashbury bookstores where people used to write and paint and do art and music, and they replaced it with Starbucks and Walgreens. You're telling me that's better for America?
better for the economy, better for
Hold
growth,
on.
economic growth.
I don't think I
Alice.
caught that exactly.
They tore down bookstores and places like that in neighborhoods like Hyde Ashbury and San Francisco where people
to build Walgreens.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Is the bookstore gonna?
Yeah, I just don't.
The bookstore gonna give you hemorrhoid cream steam?
I'm not gonna
I'm
not gonna judge the entirety of San Francisco because someone did that. I mean, come on.
someone.
Like, because,
They
a bookstore closed.
They had
Starbucks was like, this looks like a good
Joey,
location.
They had
Like, I'm not
homeless
gonna-
people
Water,
in
dude.
Golden
Like
Gate Park.
water is going to be an
police
increasing
stuff
problem. Like
on
when is the free market going to come up with their technological solution that's going to allow us to? I mean, when we talk about population, you act like population is not going to be a problem. The market's going to deal with it and everything. And the market's going to come up with solutions where there would never be some kind of civilizational collapse or anything, right? Any kind of calamity, any kind of scarcity, resource shortage, supply chain problem that could contribute to a real collapse inside. But when people don't have water, what do you think they do? Do you think they give a fuck about rule of law when your kid doesn't have water, dude? When you have a bath in 5 months,
and
dude?
America's the second
dude, you
most
kill
armed
somebody
country
for a
on
bottle
the
of
I think
drinking
that
water.
the issue
I've
of-
done it in Fallout, man. I'm going to tell you.
I'm not. The issue of water shortage is a very serious issue. If we did run out of water, that would be very bad. But as
it's
long
happening
as
all
water
over.
is a scarce resource, the best way to deal with it is through market measures such as supply and demand determining prices.
But
But
There's
that's
no
got no
Okay,
foresight.
Alan
Will you admit that
Greenspan.
that has no foresight at all?
I don't understand how in the hell we would even come to a price in water. Was like Wall Street going to start?
I know, when we were
buying
kids, we used to
like
joke about this.
options
Now it's a
for
serious
fucking
debate.
water?
Because
Yeah,
it
it's like
cost-
bullshit.
When we were kids,
Because
this was a
it-
dystopic.
It costs money for the plumbing, it costs money for the maintenance, it costs money for the water storage, for the reservoirs.
How are
right
you
now
gonna
in
price
Georgia,
all that?
right now
No,
in Georgia,
water
our
is a
legislature
basic-
a few
Are you
years
gonna
ago,
adjust
if you
for
remember,
inflation?
passed
Like,
our legislature a few years ago passed funding in the state of Georgia for new reservoirs so that we wouldn't have drought problems
And they
going
didn't
into
do
the
anything
future.
about it. They
No,
didn't do
we're
anything.
in the process of building reservoirs now. California should have planned things out. At
Right.
the way
No,
that we
hold
did.
up.
But
Let
the
me
fact
call
that they
this out
didn't
real
is
quick.
not a diss on the
Carly
markets, it's a
Fiorina,
diss
for
on
some reason, she
California's
just said some
planning.
shit. For some reason, I looked at it today, but she said that it was environmentalists' fault for not building enough dams and reservoirs to hold water that they haven't had over the. Like, if they had more reservoirs, they would be as low as the rest of them.
Carly
It wouldn't make a
Fiorina.
huge difference. There would be what?
Yeah, having.
I mean,
more
what would
supply-
reservoirs do when you don't have rain? If you're in an
Having-
epic drought caused by
Carly Fiorina, to her credit, is basically an idiot, but she's managed to make it pretty far in politics. But I wouldn't take anything she says as very seriously.
she raises big money. I mean, that's
having-
what gets
the
you
more-
fired.
the
You know,
more-
it's
the
There you
president,
go.
president.
That's the truth.
It's very simple. In our consumption-based system, we're addicted to consuming. So the more
Addicted to consuming water?
Yes.
Well,
the more,
yeah.
the more
More addicted than
supply,
anything, dude.
The more supply you have something, the more demand is going to increase. Just like a cocaine addict, if you keep giving him more and more cocaine, of course he's going to keep snorting it. He's not going to stop. You're never going to stop.
And it seems like we're never going to deal with these water
Yeah,
problems until
we're-
all of a sudden we run out of
so
water. And now
say-
it's a
so
year
say
out, and he's not even
build
taking
more.
it seriously. He's not even cutting it. Like Jerry Brown's, he was telling people not to shower. We're going to fine you for water in your
Don't
lawn.
shower.
But animal agriculture uses 40% of the water, and
Did Jerry Brown
they don't
actually
cut
say
that.
not
yes,
to shower?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
We'll take short showers.
Well,
I don't think he said not to shower.
In Atlanta,
Did I say that?
In Atlanta, they were telling people not to flush their toilets back in the day.
Hey, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's
it's
brown, flush it down.
Oh,
And that's how
God.
it should be for everybody, all day, every day.
All right, that's your lesson for the day. Plutocracy now.